people on fat acceptance are like this person. It's like they're given an inch and they take a fucking mile. It's not weight loss pills or low calorie shakes. Like it's just you're a fat fucking loser and you can't put the fork down. Just say that instead of being like it's pseudoscience. No, it's the food.
No.
That's what it is.
It's a lack of they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to. They don't want to be like, this is my fault. They want to find anything and everything else to blame for them being not what society is deemed appropriate. Good morrow, everybody. My name is Robin, also known as Sunny Side Up Gal, and you are my Sunny Side Up pal. Sorry, guys. Something happened with my mic, so there are some moments in the video where it scratches for a split second, but definitely still entertaining. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Good morning, good morrow, and good day. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my Chanel. Today we've got some very special guests here. We've got Angelica Unfiltered and Graphically Alex. Welcome.
Thank you, Gracia.
Hi. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to be going over some crazy Tumblr posts that I was sent to by a subscriber. So if you are listening, Rebecca, redacted last name, thank you so much for sending me these crazy Tumblr posts. Me appreciate you and me love you. Gracias. Before we get started, what we're just going to do is it's just like a Fat Logic Friday episode. We're just going to be on Tumblr reading fat people's insanity, and chitting and chatting and talking a lot of trash about the Tumblr people. Any words before we begin?
I'm obsessed.
Bear, I love you so much.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm excited. I'm gonna watch. I haven't been super up to date with everybody's stuff lately because I've been in the back rooms of vanity lately. But I'm gonna store everything on my phone when I go on my trip, and I'm gonna watch everything. So if you've talked crap about me, Robin, I'm gonna find out. Okay, I will find you. I will find it if you did.
Where? When did I do that?
I'm gonna catch
your
up.
old videos. Alex says he's a fake fan and hasn't been watching us, but he's going on a trip soon, so he'll catch up with all the shit we've been talking on him.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I should talk
I'm gonna
more.
fly.
You're so fit.
I'm not too fat to fly anymore. I have enough privilege that I can fly now.
Okay, dainty.
I can be treated like a human being on a plane.
Yeah.
I'm
now you
so
just
happy for you.
You buy the 2 seats just to spite everybody who can't fit in them. All right. So our first clip. We're not doing clips today. We're doing readings today. Even though I can't read. Let's just read it. All right. So this one hit me close to home immediately because someone says on Tumblr, pre-diabetes is a BS term. Pre-obesity is a BS term. I didn't know that pre-obesity was a thing. I thought that was just called being fit or being like a normal size person. Average size, straight size. Can you guys read that okay?
Yeah. I've never heard anyone say pre-obesity, but sorry, I can see.
Pre-obesity is just like average, regular, or maybe just overweight. That's weird. Never heard of that.
I think we should just call it overweight. We already have a word.
Yeah, we have a word.
But I would be post-obese because I was obese and now I'm overweight. So I don't think that term's very good.
I'm gonna get you I'm gonna Alibaba you a medal that says post-obese.
Thank you. I'll be looking forward to receiving it.
All right, pre-diabetes is a BS term. There isn't any pre for conditions. What? There isn't any pre for conditions. Oh, okay. You aren't a pre-cancer patient. Yes, you are. Mommy had pre-cancer. Yes,
yeah, this
you are.
is just wrong.
Yeah, this person is fucking dumb. If you are a heavy smoker with no cancer and you aren't pre any condition, even though you know there's a good possibility that you'll inherit a certain condition later in life because you are genetically predisposed to it. There is no pre-obesity because not every fat person will get obese, aka very fat. Not that there's anything wrong with being obese / very fat either. My BMI is considered obese for my age. Unlike what thin people often seem to think, a lot of fat people often have certain weight after which our weight gain will naturally stop or slow down. I wouldn't even say that that's necessarily true. I see a lot of people, like let's say for example that body image by Brie Lady. I feel like she's gaining weight every year. A lot of people are just gaining weight and gaining weight and gaining weight. There is no stop. There is no preset point or whatever they believe in, and they're just normalizing that, which I think is kind of scary. But this is also, it's contradicting what other people believe in the fat acceptance community.
I think too, you have to overdo it as far as consumption. So a lot of people don't want to go that far. It's like you have to get really deep in it to get really huge. You got to be getting in those cows basically to get that big. And a lot of people don't. There's this narrative that it's so easy to be like, especially super morbidly obese. It's not. It actually takes a lot of effort. You have to maintain it constantly through not being active and through constantly, consuming. I'm being careful of my word choices because, Nita's watching always.
The amount of work that goes into getting to like my 600-pound life status is insane. The amount of how often they have to eat, or how and just the amount as well. It's astonishing.
For sure.
And it is difficult to lose weight, sure, but I feel like a lot of it is mental hurdles.
Yeah,
especially when you're that size.
Sometimes physical too, but it's just physically bad to be that big either way. So it's bad if you're staying that size or you're downsizing. But as far as like actually getting to be like 350 plus, it's a lot of effort. And I speak as somebody that had experience. I was 383 at my highest, and I spent most of my adulthood over 350 at 6'1". And it was a constant effort to be that size. I had to engage in what I call the toxic ritualistic. I had to do cycles to have enough of a desire basically to sustain that. When I stopped, then you start to downsize because it's a lot. And as far as I know of Angelica's lore, she just stopped maintaining her super morbid obesity, and she just downsized without even putting any other effort than just not putting in the effort. Once you get to like obesity, then it is a little harder. Then it's like, okay, you need to like actually put some effort into work. Like usually you have to exercise, and especially if you're like mid-size, you have to exercise, and people don't want to do that. Because that actually is like an active work or like an active effort. But when it comes to like being humongous, you have to maintain that. And that is through intentionally being inactive, which people don't think about that, but that's what people do. They are intentionally inactive a lot of the time. So I call it out. Well, but you're also not having enough to be like 350 plus, that's a lot of effort. It's a lot of cooking. It's a lot of money. Like even if you're just ordering things, you have to work for that money usually. Like there's a lot, unless if you're just extremely privileged where you don't have to work you can just spend like hundreds of dollars on DoorDash. I couldn't do that, I had to work for that money if I spent it, So it's a lot of effort, and people, when they're within that mental disorder, they don't think about any of the effort. It's like, oh, well, I have to do this to survive. So of course. And so they don't think about it. But in reality, it's a huge weight lifted to not be that big. So when she's saying they just naturally stay that size, it's because they don't want to put effort, period. Which you can be passively obese. When you start to get morbid and beyond, you're actually putting an effort to be that big.
Yeah,
so that's my
it makes sense. It'll naturally stop or slow down. It's probably because they're so large that they're too tired to like put more effort into like getting to it.
Yeah,
adding more. You can observe this happening when you look at your fat relatives, e.g., your fat aunt most likely isn't adding on a ton of weight anymore after a certain age. I think it's because she's probably like we were saying, she can't do much, to like afford it, or
she doesn't want to be that inactive. You have to be very inactive, even bedbound at certain sizes.
Yeah. Ooh, a nightmare. The term pre-obesity works as a way to justify why we fat people deserve to be shamed, or why we deserve to get shit cared by healthcare professionals. It gives us an excuse for treating smaller fat people like shit, even though there's a lot of contradicting research on the health effects of being small fat or overweight, even some stating that overweight individuals live longer than their thin counterparts. So I believe they're bringing up the fact that like people who are in end of life stages, they last a little bit longer than like people who are in thin end of life stages. And it's, from what I've read, it's because and I'll put an image up of like the study, but from what I read, it's because there's just like extra energy stored on the body so that they can like sustain and last a little bit longer, but that doesn't necessarily mean that makes them healthier than the person who is thinner at end stage. They're both end stage life. They're both end of life stages. And then also like what got the obese person to the end of their life is probably caused by obesity rather than like the person who was then getting, let's be vulgar, I guess, and just like lung cancer or something like that. So they nitpick, they cherry pick a lot of like the studies, or they'll be like, there's a lot of contradicting research, and it's like there's like 100 research articles that say that obesity is being bad, but then there's like 12 research articles that say that obesity is like a healthy thing. So I don't know. It's so
and it's
annoying.
usually about like muscle too. Like if like there has been studies shown that like people that are heavier will survive cancer longer, but it's usually because of muscle that sustains them. Because if you compare someone that's very thin, that's never worked out, compared to someone maybe that's just slightly overweight, they're probably going to have a little bit more muscle on their bodies, and that helps them not to deteriorate as quickly as someone that's just like skin and bones.
That's true. Yeah, because they've been carrying that stuff around.
Yeah.
Also, too,
I got the legs to
overweight.
prove it.
I know, right?
You-
Same. Alex,
you
you
can-
too, though, right? Your legs are probably a little bit.
They are. I mean, I have muscle. I go to the gym though, as you know.
Yeah.
I do. So
The
but
other
I
day I
think
was
yeah.
flipping through, sorry to interrupt you. I was flipping through
problem.
and I think I was on my other Instagram or my other YouTube channel, and I got one of your old videos, Alex, like recommended to me from 2 years ago, and I was like, who's this bitch? And it was you. I could barely recognize you. I was like, oh my gosh. I thought you were a new person, but it was you from like 2 years ago. It was crazy.
I just wanted to say that overweight as well. It could be muscle. I think you can be healthy and overweight according to BMI. It's a little bit more nuanced. Obese, no. Sorry, you still weigh too much. So, I mean, even if you're like bodybuilding to the extent that you're going to be actually obese, you're likely A, not lean enough, or B, you're taking a bunch of substances to have that much going on. And it's not healthy, because it's actually really tough to, I love Honey Bison. She just did this reel about like, you're not going to get bulky from building muscle. She's like, don't flatter yourself. Like basically saying like, it's hard and like, there's no way you're trained enough and all that stuff, which I agree with, because I was telling you guys like yesterday, I have small bones. So I have muscle, but it's little. It's not big at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not lean at all. So it's like, oh yeah, like if I was obese, it's like, honey, you are overweight. Like you cannot, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
and this person's like, well, I'm obese, and but it doesn't matter. I'm quote unquote obese for my age. It's not your age, it's your height, for one. And
Oh
for
yeah,
two,
I noticed that too. Yeah.
you are like, it's a lot of cope. There's a lot of cope in class 1 obesity, because they often will compare to being bigger and be like, I'm not that bad. Or they'll compare to being under and they're like, I'm not that bad. It's like, but you're not good. You're mid.
Yeah.
So just saying, I'm not class 1 obese acceptance either. I don't accept it. So
over time, there is no reason why we define BMI of over 25 as overweight, besides the fact that the number 25 was easy to remember and BMI itself isn't accurate. I feel like they just pulled that right out of their IAS. There isn't pre-diabetes because that's a stupid fear-mongering term used by health gurus on the internet. That's like what my doctor literally told me. I mean, are we just not supposed to believe our doctors anymore? Like that's stupid. I would be considered pre-diabetic graphs the state certain blood glucose levels and HDL/LDL cholesterol levels to be pre-diabetic. Pre-diabetic is determined by your A1C and like your fasting blood glucose. Your HDL and LDL don't really like pay like they monitor that, but it's not really a marker for pre-diabetes.
It's a part
okay,
of
so this person's fat, they have pre-diabetes.
Yeah.
It's a
like
part. HDL and LDL are a part of, I think it's called metabolic syndrome. So it's a part of like a list of issues involved with obesity, including fatty liver, which this person probably has too.
Yeah. And I'm sure if this person has elevated blood glucose levels, their LDL is also going to be extra high. Despite this, my blood results are considered to be the normal range, and later, after I exposed a concern for my blood test due to those stupid science of pre-diabetes graphs on the internet, a nurse told me that if my blood results had been a sign of me getting diabetes soon, the doctors who analyzed my blood test would have told me that Anyway, have a lovely day, y'all. And then the arguments begin. What the fuck are you talking about? Prediabetes is a medical term used by doctors.
Right.
I am, as informed by my actual doctor, pre-diabetic. Being pre-diabetic is real, and dismissing a whole ass medical term because the internet, notorious for being wrong, said you were pre-diabetic and the nurse said no you weren't, is not grounds for dismissing the term as a whole. It's grounds for dismissing the dipshit health gurus or whatever they call themselves. Your doctors know what they're talking about. Random fuckwit health gurus online do not. Agree. Verify all information, even if you guys are watching and like I'm happy you may trust us, but listen, we're just three regular schmegular people who are not professional medical people or nurses or scientists. I don't know, are you a scientist, Alex?
I studied psychology. So
I
no.
Yeah, we do soft science here.
Oh no.
Oh god. Yeah, we're not professionals. We're just people on the internet. We're just chitting and chatting. We're on a Zoom call. So any information that you gather from here, always verify, always double check. And if we're wrong, let us know in the comments. But be nice about it or we'll talk shit about you.
Also, diabetes is not complete. Like it is obviously heavily correlated with weight, but you can be diabetic and not overweight. So I don't even know
you
why
can be
they're
skinny,
like,
fat, and pre-diabetic.
yeah. So I don't even know why they're so obsessed with that term. Like it's just kind of weird.
I think the majority of Americans, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. This is just how my brain works. And that's because I was pre-diabetic and possibly diabetic at one point in my life. But I assume when I see an overweight person or when I think of the term type 2 diabetes, I know it's a possibility that like there are thin people or skinny fat people who have type 2 diabetes, but like type 2 diabetes is an obesity disease to me. Like I don't know.
It's
It
heavily
will
correlated
be.
for sure.
Yeah, heavily
But
correlated.
yeah.
99.2% preventable, and it's usually because people are fat. I don't know. Too much sugar.
I looked
I
up
agree.
I looked up that term pre-obesity because I mean I'm pretty active on like the health and wellness side of the internet, especially with obesity shit. And I guess it actually is a term. And according to the World Obesity Federation, they use
Oh,
that.
shit.
Pre-diabetes
Wrestlers.
often used interchangeably with overweight. But I'm like, I have literally like never heard anyone use the term pre-obesity before. Have you
Yeah.
guys?
I've never heard that in my
No.
life.
Yeah, and every other thing is like everything is like super scholarly. So I wonder, like,
Scholarly.
it's very weird. Yeah, it's like from that obesity website, and then it's like cardiometabolichealth.org. All these different orgs and foundations are using that term. Like, so it doesn't seem like a regular person term. It seems like almost like more of a scientific term, maybe.
Yeah, like
So I don't
maybe
know if
like
they're
they would
like
only be
involved in science or something.
a term that you would use in like a lecture or something like that. I feel like pre-obese sounds worse than just overweight.
Yeah, it does.
I just
That
think
sounds
it's
mean.
kind of bulky. It's like
Yeah.
a bulky statement. I think overweight, it works. And
Mm-hmm.
there is nuance in overweight. If you're in the vanity back rooms, there is nuance. Like you need to look at your composition and don't freak out about a clothing size and stuff. It just depends. And if you are building muscle, you can swell a lot and you swell and then you unswell, unless if you're keto like Robin. But usually if you're having carbs, you're going to have swelling cycles, like fluid retention and then not, and then it goes up and down. So you need to chill out. So overweight is nuanced. Obese is not, in my opinion. I think if you're obese, it's too much. There's too much going on. So sorry, not sorry.
Right.
And insulin
Hold on a
resistance
second.
is real. And it's a problem.
Yes, insulin. I think there's definitely an insulin resistance epidemic in this country.
Yes.
This might be a hot take, but I think that the internet is so fat phobic that most of these comments you see tearing people down for their chubby pets aren't actually doing it out of the concern for the animal's health, but instead out of the satisfaction they get telling someone else that their pet isn't cute at all because it's fat. I don't know. I don't like it.
They might. Sorry. They need to do another
those-
read.
Another read? What do you mean?
On the tarot deck. They're trying to be like a fortune teller, and I don't think they're any good. So that's my opinion. Because it's all about like, I can see the intention of somebody saying something about your dog's weight. It's like, okay, Let me see your fortune telling credentials. Let's see how good you are. Because I don't think you're that great.
Not a hot take, cold take. Everybody who has a an obese animal, don't do that. You need to fix it. Your dog can't choose. It's not fair. It's not fair to the dog. And this is coming from somebody who has a chubby pit bull, and he's been on a diet, and we went to the vet today, you guys, and he lost another 3 pounds because we love him and we want him to be around, and we don't want him to get diabetes. Yes. Now he weighs 60 pounds.
Awesome.
He's very, very heavy lap dog. All right. When in all reality, yes, obese animal would be that way from health neglect or abusive carelessness, but 9 times out of 10, that isn't the problem, and I'm sure they know that. Yeah, I wouldn't say that people. I wouldn't say abusive is a heavy word. People, we didn't know that Donkey was overweight until like we realized that he was overweight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just like one day it was like night and day. We're like, I think he's too fat. You know what I mean? So then, and it's not that I don't think that it was out of neglect or a lack of love. It just happened, and then we went to the vet, and we found out that his food wasn't right for his diet, and now he's on a diet, and like I would say yes, carelessness on our part, but
then you went to the vet and they told you, and then you did something about it. Like a doctor's supposed to tell you that you're obese if you're not aware.
Yeah.
And then you do something about it.
Right. If you know you have an obese pet and you do nothing about it,
right,
that is carelessness. That is abuse. That is wrong. That is neglect. But like, it's very common for people to not like. I don't think that people are purposely trying to make these pets or these animals fat. Like they don't really realize what. You know, because we're not dogs. The dog's not going to tell us, right? You just have to watch it. But these commenters,
there's a gradient. So they could be really bad, and then it's like, oh my gosh, the dog can't even walk. Like, how could you not see that? Or it could just be a little chunkalicious, and you can't always tell. So I agree with you. I don't think it's like
it's so crazy too, because they were like, we were like, he's like a bulldog mix too, and so he's bulky anyway. So we were like, I like, is he supposed to be this way? Is what are we really supposed to be feeding him? So like immediately go to the vet and figure it out, and see what size he's supposed to be. And the crazy thing is that all it took was 3 pounds. Like 3 pounds on a dog. Isn't that crazy? 3 pounds on a dog, and he's like at a healthy weight.
I think because like animals are just generally smaller, but
yeah, that's true.
It's also, it could just be like, if they are overweight, it's that much worse. That 3 pounds makes a big difference.
Makes a difference.
It probably feels like 20 for us.
Maybe. Oh, poor Duncan. Poor Duncan. He's my little chunkin. All right, these commenters do not know these people, their pets, or any of the reasons their pet is chubby. The captions or description could literally be, "This is Molly. She's a rescue, and we're helping her to lose some weight." And a third of the comments will be like, "This is not cute. The animal is abused. Your baby girl is suffering, and she will die early and miserable." That's a little wild.
Meanwhile, comments say things all the time that are stupid. If you're basing your whole life on comments as a content creator, that's stupid in and of itself.
People will look at the photos and like nobody really reads the captions anymore. People will look at the photo and then just be like, "You're abusing the dog," and like didn't read that, like, hey, the dog's on a journey, Meanwhile, the supposed Molly is straight up purring and eagerly waiting their owner's attention. Oh, and also isn't that overweight in terms of pet obesity. I will say one of the hardest animals that I've ever tried to like, I ended up finding a better home for it because I had a roommate that left my house because she was like insane and a shrug person. Yeah, and she left her dog or her cat with me, and that cat was humongous, diabetic. Well, not diabetic. It just looked fat. It was a fat cat, and I ended up finding a better home because I was like, I don't know how to take care of a cat. And the hardest thing to do, like that was like the hardest thing for me to see to make this cat lose weight, because it was literally like he had to feed it this much food twice a day to get it, because it was so fat. And it's just so strange because as humans, like that seems, I don't know, it seems like I would be, it's like, it seems like morsels, but like pet animals are so different. I don't know, it's weird.
Well, a cat's stomach is probably only this big. It's not like the same size as ours.
Yeah, she doesn't need a Baconator. All right, no, because a non-fat feta cheeser, I really do take pride in fighting fatphobia internally and around me.
Feta cheeser.
People will say, "Oh my god, I ate too much," or "I'm a glutton or a pig," and I walk in to tell them that they're not, and that it's perfectly normal to clean your plate or get seconds or eat a little past full. I will not recommend eating past full. I think you're going to hurt yourself, and that's going to snowball into unhealthy habits. What would you guys say?
It's not necessary.
It's not
I mean,
necessary. Yeah.
it's not even pleasurable.
Mhm.
So what's the point? You know,
Yeah.
that's how
I
I
think
feel
that
about it.
I think the country has gotten to this normalization of seconds and thirds and cleaning their plates that we don't understand what real hunger is anymore. We don't understand like what real fullness is anymore. Like some people don't stop until they're like they feel like they're gonna
Yeah.
explode. Problem. It's a problem.
Yeah, well, last night Pablo and I went to dinner. We went to some local Italian place. We got bread and butter and then like a fried ravioli appetizer, and then Pablo got sausage and tortellini, and I got spaghetti and meatballs. And like Pablo finished like not even half of his plate, and he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so full. I'm gonna peel over." And I finished like almost all of my food, and I was like, "I'm not even full." Like there's just something between like my brain and my stomach where to this day it's like they don't always communicate, or like I don't get those fullness cues still, and it's like I know when to stop. And I mean, I
Mhm.
didn't fucking lick my plate. Like I left some meatball and some pasta, so I'm not totally overdoing it, but I had to I have to stop myself, because even though I don't have the communication or like the right hormones or whatever, like when enough is enough. And if I pushed myself to the point where I was like so overly disgustingly
Yeah.
full, like I could probably have like 6,000 energy units or something, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like not everyone has those like hormones, like me and Pablo's different, like ghrelin and leptin levels are obviously so
Yeah.
different, because
Mhm.
he's like, oh my God, this is way too much, and I'm like, I'm just starting.
Yeah. So which one is the fullness one is ghrelin, right? Or leptin?
Ghrelin is when your stomach is growling, so that's like
When
your
it's
hunger,
hungry.
and leptin is
Okay,
your
leptin is the
like
fill
your
one.
fullness.
So there
Mhm.
is such a thing as leptin resistance. So like how they have
Mhm.
insulin resistance. I'll send you a video. There's a thing as leptin resistance, and I think in the video, it's Dr. Fung, and he talks about how to like repair that. But it is
Mhm.
like a physical thing, like you do now, where you kind of like not force, but like you ensure that you leave some things on your plate. You time your meals, so like
Mhm.
if I'm not done with this, or I have to finish this plate, or I have to uh stop eating in 30 minutes or something like that, or like you eat for 25 minutes and then you wait 10 minutes and then you eat for another 25 minutes or something like that, just to
Mhm.
kind of help like rebuild your relationship with leptin. So that's really interesting. And I wonder if you have leptin resistance because I mean, you said that you used to snack all day, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I know like I can feel the heaviness in my stomach, but there's nothing in my brain that's like,
It's
all
like,
right,
let's
girl,
stop.
like
Well, it
put the fork
All
down.
right,
Like that's more of
girl.
like something I have to do like mentally.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
could be
yeah,
too, because you've been in a Cal Def for a long term. You've done like a long haul downsizing journey too. So your brain is more primed to have more. But if you go into maintenance for like a couple months, it would probably
Mhm.
change too. So that's also part of it. But there's probably just a lot of stuff when it comes to hormones, it's layered. So there's like a lot of different things going into it. And when you have a lot of layers, then you have an effect. Then it's like a pretty drastic effect. But it's
Mhm.
good that you're aware and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. You know, like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I get fuller at this time. Like when I was no longer obese and stuff, that really changed. So that also changes it, or it did for me at least, especially like months down the line. And then I've done like reverse diet. I call it reverse diet, but DIETs before too.
Mhm.
And that kind of gets the serotonin to regulate over time. And then the appetite is not too much, or, you know, it's more normalized. So I
Mhm.
have an easier time, but I still get food noisy and stuff, you know, but
Yeah.
part of that
food
is
noisy.
downsizing in general. Yeah.
Well, it could be we also ate Italian food and it was all like basically carbs, so that probably didn't help.
Oh, well,
Like when I
Yeah.
eat a bunch of protein and stuff, like
yeah.
I can feel more fullness, but with like just bread and pasta, it's like my
Yeah.
stomach
I
Oh,
is
feel
yeah.
like,
That's true.
it's like a fucking hole in it. It
yeah.
feels like I have a worm.
That's fair too. So you could
You got the
have
diet
carbs could just
parasite.
be carbs could be something that doesn't make you, that's not filling to you. Like for me, they
Mhm.
are. I'm a little bit less full with fat, to be honest, which is kind of like,
That's
whoa,
crazy.
but that's
Mhm.
just me. And I could just down a lot more calories if I had something fried versus like if I had a bowl of oats, which they're too much for me. They make me feel like kind of like overstimulated a little bit. So I'm kind of like not having them as much. But you know, it depends on the person. Some people could have oats and they'd be tired, you know. So it's
Yeah.
like you have to think about it. Mind body connection. So
That's so
Mhm.
crazy
Gotta
because I
practice.
could literally like take a shot of avocado oil and be filled till dinner.
yeah.
It's weird.
Whereas I'd be like,
You'd be like, I'm hungry some more.
I'd be, yeah, pretty much.
All right. I don't do this. Okay. I don't do this with any corny, creepy, weirdo intention. I say it as a person who wants everyone, even my worst enemies, to eat enough. I say it because I want people to be compassionate to themselves and their basic needs as a human. So this person is
Oh, but look at the last sentence they crossed out.
I do go home and think about it though. Oh, weird. This person is somebody who likes to see people eat to the point of no return. They're claiming that they even want to see it in their worst enemies, which in my opinion makes me think that they want to see that they're probably a closeted like unalive type of feeder. What would they call that? Like a person who wants people to like a death like gotta cut
Yeah,
that.
death. That's what it's called.
Yeah, death fearism. Yeah, death fearism. I'll believe it. Whatever. I don't know. I did post in my last or one of my videos about Tumblr that they were allowing people to report feederism or greeterism as inappropriate and like get the accounts taken down. I think it's a great idea. I think that this type of behavior is like almost abusive. Like feederism is abusive. Like I understand that there might be people in the comment section who will be like, well, it's two consenting adults, yada yada yada. But I mean, somebody's still getting hurt. Like somebody is getting hurt in
Not
this, and it doesn't feel
every,
safe.
yeah, not every, I don't know how to say it for YouTube's sake, but not everybody's interests
Yeah.
are not dangerous or are safe. Some of them are dangerous. And so some
Right.
of them are wrong. And I will say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous.
Fuck your feelings.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This is
It's
bad.
dangerous.
Yes.
Mhm.
Bring back kink shaming for some stuff. For some stuff.
If it's not dangerous, then whatever. But
Yeah.
if it is, then no.
Yes. Correct.
So.
Correct.
These people have no fucking life. Making
They
a
don't have a
blog about
life.
fat phobia, making a
Get a
blog
job.
about thin privilege.
Yeah. Okay, let's
Thin
read this one.
privilege
This
is
is thin
I can
privilege.
I can sit here and I can imagine how you smell. Like
Ooh.
you live in your mom's basement, you don't shower regularly, you have
Musky.
blue
Clam
cheese
chowder.
being made in your fucking fupa rolls.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm calling the police. I'm calling the cops on you. Oh my god.
What, for being
right, let
so
me just-
psychically accurate?
All right, let's read this one and then I have one more and then I think I'm done. Okay, this is thin privilege. This is thin privilege. They should invent no. Okay. We need to start seriously treating the concepts of obesity and weight loss as a dangerous pseudoscience, and I am not kidding. Weight loss is pseudoscience, you guys. How? I don't understand that. It's some shit that everyone thinks they can understand based on vibes, but since science just doesn't work that way. Real scientists have proved time and time again that it doesn't work how people assume. Many medical conditions where it's assumed weight is a cause, something to blame the patient for is actually a symptom. Understandable, but that doesn't mean that like reducing the symptom, like reducing, for example, PCOS. People are saying that it is like weight gain is a symptom, obesity is a symptom of PCOS, but reducing obesity can help reduce inflammation and like make your other symptoms better, and like also help with your hormonal function, because excess adipose tissue is like an extra organ and it just makes your whole body's like hormone just a shitstorm. So, and that's proven. Body size is based on so many individual possibilities, genetics, upbringing, wealth, what type of food you eat, what kind of work you do, where you live, etc., etc., etc. It is impossible to control for all of these. Wonder what kind of work is like associated with obesity.
Working at McDonald's.
Working at McDonald's.
Yeah, or like, they're
the
saying if
school,
you're sedentary.
the hall
But
monitor at your school, that fat lady with all the keys.
Lunch lady.
A long lady lamb. Well,
Lunch lady. Yep, that's a good one.
I think that they're trying to just say, like, if you have a sedentary job, but you typically have some time off in a day, so you can do activity. That's not an
Yeah.
excuse.
Also, if you have a sedentary job, you can also just like eat in a way that is appropriate for the amount of calories that you burn at your sedentary job. Like if you really can't work out, like just eat less, you know?
That too.
I was a child born to fat, impoverished laborer parents, and I grew up doing farm labor, gaining muscle. I will never be thin.
What?
It's just how my body developed, and no matter how much weight I were to hypothetically lose, doctors would still push me to lose more, family would push me to lose more, society would push me to lose more. I will never ever be enough. You will never be thin enough. There is no BMI low enough to satisfy him. There's no progress.
That's not
That
true.
won't just make... Huh?
I said that's not true. It doesn't make any sense. That's
Yeah, we want
just
you to
the
normalize
term.
your weight. Also, why are you talking about obesity if you're talking about how you gained muscle from doing hard
Yeah.
labor? Or are you just making that up? That's what I think. Your personal circumstances are important to pseudoscience practice. The variables don't matter that much. It must be a one-size-fits-all solution. No,
No,
because
it's not.
yeah. We want weight normalization. We don't want everybody to be Ariana Grande. We don't want everybody to be, a superhero or a supermodel or anything like that.
Right.
The entire country is at risk for early death, basically.
Yeah.
Everybody is so, just like you say all the time, Angelica, everybody is so fucking fat. It's a problem. We don't want you to be that way. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
We don't. I mean, I don't think any of us, we don't like enforce vanity on our channels. I don't care if somebody else is, has abs or not. What do I give? Sorry, I don't want to cuss, but what do I care about that? You know what I mean? I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do, but that's also their issue. Like, you don't have to listen either. You just have boundaries. I just have told people, I don't owe you vanity. That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
I don't owe it to you. But as far as health, no, you need to do something. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not sorry.
And I think most people understand that there are a lot of variables that go into health, and especially like weight and downsizing, but it doesn't make it like fucking impossible. Like all three of us here, we have very different like weight loss experiences or like reasons to why we got to the weight that we did, and we've all had very different journeys with losing weight as well, but there are still a lot of common threads, and I think most people understand that there is nuance, or everyone has like their own journey, but it's like people in fat acceptance are like this person, it's like they're given an inch and they take a fucking mile. It's not your muscle from being a fucking farmer that's made you fat. It's not what weight loss pills or low calorie shakes. Like it's just you're a fat fucking loser and you can't put the fork down. Just say that instead of being like it's pseudoscience. No, it's the food.
No.
That's what it is.
It's a lack of they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to.
Yeah.
They don't want to be like, this is my fault. They want to find anything and everything else to blame for them being not what society is deemed appropriate. You're right. The three of us, none of us, I don't think any of us are ever going to want anybody to be stick thin or anything like that. Me personally, as long as you're not actively gaining weight, you're cool, right? Stop actively gaining weight, eat whole foods, stop eating like a fat piece of garbage, and stop ordering like junk food. I don't know. I have a problem with all of the even though I just ordered fast food today, but it was keto. But like people eat fast food so much, and they
Yeah.
complain about how expensive it is to eat a healthy meal, when in reality it's like the I save so much money every 2 weeks on food because we don't eat out as much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I
But yeah,
agree.
like,
It's a choice. They're choosing to stay that
they're
size,
choosing
and they
exactly, and
don't
they're
want
finding other
to.
reasons to
Yeah.
blame to they're finding excuses to stay this way.
Yeah, and I think where I can give some credit, even though it's very little and basically nothing, to be honest, but where I can is, yes, there are a very small number of people who will enforce vanity onto you. And for those people, you will not be good enough, but they are a tiny amount of the population, probably like 5% or less. And two, people will demand it too fast. That's true too, but it's up to you. You have to hold yourself accountable. If you know that you are not doing anything, or if you are flopping in your effort, that is something that only you can fix. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to stop lying to yourself. And you're accountable to yourself when it comes to this. Absolutely. So it's like you have to do what you can do sustainably. There's a balancing act, but it's like, don't act like you have to stay morbidly obese. You don't. That's a
Yeah.
choice. Like, and if you're acting like you have to be that way, it's because you have this psychological drive to stay that size, so you will maintain it because you're
Mm-hmm.
lying. This person's lying. It's not.
Me too, like, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like, and then the genetics. Okay, well, I did my 23andMe and I have the fat gene, but the fat gene just says people with my genetics are higher on the healthy weight BMI. Okay, and then what about your job? Like, my job is making and packing jewelry orders and doing YouTube. That's
Yeah.
a very sedentary job, but I go out of my way to be active. So then I am getting my steps in. I'm not wealthy.
Yeah.
My upbringing, I'm middle class. Like, it just like, no matter what you can say, there is going to be a rebuttal, and there is always going to be there's always going to be a success story of someone that has overcome
Yeah.
all of these things that this person is listing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Every weight loss pill, every low calorie shake or meal replacement, every Weight Watchers frozen meal, it all contributes to the pseudoscience cult of thinness. Every ad that says you're not good enough, I don't know, and I don't know of any weight loss ad that's like, you're not good enough, you need to lose weight. They're usually like, we understand you're not trying, or we understand that it's difficult to lose weight and we can help you. You know what I mean? That's how the ads are now.
Or they're talking
It
about
pushes you to,
something from 20 years ago. That's totally
yeah,
irrelevant at this
yeah.
moment. It's like, move on.
They're stuck. They're stuck in the past. It pushes you to drop your critical
Mhm.
thinking skills. We have created a world where people think shitting themselves into thinness using potions with untested ingredients is healthier than having some fat on their body, but it's not. That's absurd. You're sending your body into a constant state of gastric shock. One day, when you're bored of eating tasteless nutrient paste and decide to eat something with flavor in it, your body will react with a starvation response and store
Yeah.
every little bit of that fat it can because it's so used to being fucking starved, which sends people into a panic response buying up. God, I feel like I want to know who started that rumor that that's how starvation response works, or like the whole starvation mode or whatever. I want to know who started that. I mean, I understand, like, we were talking about it in the comment section of my last video, but like, I guess when you reduce your cows so much that it can like change your baseline, and I think it lowers your NEAT, so you're moving around less, and so when you start to eat more, then you're still moving around less, but you're just eating more calories. I don't know, but I want to know who, because now they really, the fat acceptance community really is grasping onto starvation mode, but they'll never starve because they have like 8 days of, or 800 days of fat on their body.
So I talk about it a lot in terms of it's hypothyroidism. So that's usually through within obesity, fatty liver. So that causes it because your liver can't convert thyroid hormone properly.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will slow your metabolism, and it can also make your appetite higher. But if you take care of yourself and do some lifestyle changes, and I don't know, like not be a huge alcoholic, it's this person has Britishy spelling, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have an alcohol issue on top of it. Then you
Oh my
might
gosh, you
not
guys,
have
Alex
that
thinks that British
starvation.
people are alcoholics.
Well, they say how fat we are here, and they're right.
That's true.
And I'm
Yeah,
also
yeah.
right in saying that they're alcoholic. So anyway, the point is, I mean, it can be stereotypical across the Atlantic as well. I can do it too. And if you have fatty liver for multiple reasons, you're going to have a higher appetite and you're going to want to eat more. And if that's the case, then that could be starvation mode, but it's not. And it's just a hormone issue that you're causing through other lifestyle choices. Also, being inactive will make you have more of an issue with appetite too. There's so many different things that cause it. And it's like they believe it's this genetic code, like this destiny that you will be this size. That's not true. It is false. Is it destiny that you will drink yourself into fatty liver for the entirety of your whole life? No, it is a choice you are making. Just be real. This person has a beating recorder. This person has logic bad. So when you're seeing this, that's what that is. And it's a belief system. I try to tell people that it is a belief system, that this person is writing this to reinforce why they must stay that size. We've already given so many different solutions. You're like, don't eat out anymore. I'm like, stop drinking, like Angelica saying, like, I did this and we were middle class. Middle class, in my opinion, is a risk factor because you're most likely to be the most fat if you're middle class. That is like the biggest demo because you have enough spending money to have excess food and you can't like go on extravagant vacations all the time or something. You know what I mean? Like, so people in that, they're the most likely to eat out all the time.
Yeah.
So
they work the most, they get the least amount of sleep, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
The starvation thing too. Well, like if you start cutting down your calories and then you like lose weight, like my TDE is obviously going to be substantially less than when I was at my heaviest. And it's not a bad thing that I'm not allowed to eat as many calories now compared to when I was 100 pounds heavier. Like it just has, my body just needs less calories to function. And it's not a bad thing. Why do I need to have fucking 2,600 calories? Like I can get enough nutrition in my deficit or whatever my maintenance is now. Like,
because you're an adult woman, you need 25,000 calories to survive. To have
I need
function.
to eat a dozen donuts for breakfast.
Your body stores fat because that's your reserve energy. Fat is protective. I thank my body every day for storing so much energy for me. Fuck knows I need it. It's storage energy. It's not energy. Like the fat on your body is not what's running your brain. The fat on your body is like for if you happen to run into like an ice age. That's your blubber. You are a large mammal. Your body is designed to keep energy in reserve so you can sleep and stay warm and keep your brain alive. Listen, it's the hottest summer of the fucking year, so of the century or something like that.
You are a large mammal. That is crazy to say.
I mean, they are correct in that statement.
And that, they are a whale.
Well, I mean, but it's like, I don't know. Sorry. That just blew my mind.
You're a large mammal, so you need to be fat
We're
as
all
fuck.
hippos. No. And even hippos don't have that much fat on them.
No, they're muscle, dude. They're pure muscle.
What is the fattest mammal? I challenge Robin to put that on the post edit, what the fattest mammal is.
Humans.
I'm pretty sure it's it's Amberlyn Reed.
Modern human.
You should research the human metabolic process. You need fat. All right. The last thing I wanted to show you was a photo because but it made me think of made me think of that episode of SpongeBob where Patrick looks like the ice cream cone or a piece of gum.
I have a picture of myself basically looking pretty much like that.
Oh my gosh, really?
Go ahead and send that to me.
And I will blur it out. Sorry that I showed you. But am I sorry? Okay, Laura Aguilar is a Los Angeles-based photographer whose quick work mines the intersection between feminism, body image, queer politics, and Latinx identity. Her earliest works depict Latina lesbians in intimate portraits, calling to mind frankness Catherine Opie, while her best-known series features self-portraits of Aguilar posed nude in the California desert landscape. These photographs are instantly striking. Let me see. Aguilar forces our gaze onto the body that does not conform to stereotypical images of Latinx or feminine identity.
That photo's from 1992.
Are you serious?
Before her time. Go down. Yeah, it says it's right there, grounded.
Wow.
Oh,
she's ahead of her time.
That is excellent like film, man. Film gets it. Like versus digital. Like I'm impressed. I have to show Michael that because he's gonna have words to say.
Sci-fi. It's giving sci-fi Indian vibes.
It's giving sci-fi. It's giving
the tiny little butt crack.
So so cute.
I know. The plus sizes, there's so much stuff protecting, like there's so much fat on her body that like she's not getting rocks up her coochie.
Oh my god.
All right, but that's it, you guys. Let me close this out. That is our Tumblr Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed us. I hope you guys learned or got frustrated with us or giggled with us. If you have any anything to add, let us know in the comments. What do you want to hear next? If you have any, actually, if you guys have any other weird, if you're on Tumblr, if you have any other weird Tumblr posts, send them to me on my Instagram. You can see the link below, because I want Tumblr Tuesday to be a part of the circle, the cycle of my videos. But any last words, lady and gent?
It's your choice to be obese.
Yeah.
That'll piss people off.
It do be a choice.
I'll second that thought.
All right, everybody. We hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. If you haven't already, please consider giving me a subscribe. Like if you liked the video, and hype it if it's giving you the option to hype. If you're not a member, click the link below, become a member for $2 a month. And goodbye. D for dick.
I was gonna say you're not on YouTube.
No. No.
No, 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 no. Do you remember when we met? That's the day I knew you were my pet. I wanna tell you that I love you.